Thanks, Serge. Get them together.
Okay, guys, get ready.
Hi, this is Rex. Welcome to episode 27 of Petong Points Podcast. See, I told you I'd get them out a little more regularly now I have more time on my hands. You can find this podcast and all previous episodes on Spotify, Apple, and most other podcast platforms. However, the home site for all my podcasts and voiceovers is universalexports.co. That's universalexports.co. Wow, we're full of it this time. We have our regular 1-minute coaching tip, interviews with Chris Boudan, our Australian rep to the World Championships. And yes, we did track him down. Louie Tattooie is here. Guy takes on a tough umpiring query. And we have champagne facts, of course. Some calculations on how many times you throw the Boules, plus more. So settle in for another feature-packed episode of Petong Points Podcast. We might get straight into the coaching tip from the world champion Sylvain. Found a fantastic series of short training videos on YouTube by the world champion of Petong, Sylvain Boule. These productions come under the Creative Commons license, so I'm able to give a sample on this platform. The series can be found in French, but there is a version with English voiceover. They are videos, and we are not. But here is a sample of what they sound like.
So, how do you throw the jack correctly? First of all, the rules say that the distance has to be between 6 and 10 meters, and the jack must be at least 1 meter from any obstacle. Be careful, it's very important to throw the jack correctly, because you only get one shot. If your jack throw doesn't match the rules, your opponent can pick it up and place it wherever he wants. You've thrown the jack incorrectly, so you've lost the choice of strategy. If you're losing, for example, you can throw the jack close to you in order to play offensively and catch up to your opponent. If you're winning, you can throw the jack far and play defensively in order to keep your advantage. So if I want to throw my jack the right way, what do I do? Simple, I practice. And to do that, you have 2 throwing strategies. On rolling terrain, I advise you to throw the jack to make it roll. On heavier terrain, I advise you to throw the jack higher so that it travels less. So be careful, don't push it too far. Come on, let's have another round.
After this piece, some people might say, I have too much time on my hands after all. Have you ever thought how many Boules you throw over a period of a year? For me, the answer is quite easy. 3. I only have 3, and they are the ones I throw all the time. Okay. Let me rephrase the question. How many throws of Boules do you do in a year? I'd like to do a poll on this. So text in your estimation. And to give you a starting point, this is a calculation I've done on an average social club player with and without playing competitions. Of course, I'm making assumptions, averages and guesses, and this is what I've determined to be the result. Based on a 45-minute timed game series. Okay, 7 minutes per end equals 7 ends by 3 pools each end, so 21 throws per game by, say, 3 games, 63 throws. Doing that twice a week, 126 throws. Plus practice each play day of, say, 4 ends by 3 equals 12 twice, 24 throws. Therefore, the average social player throws 150 per week. Let's say 30 times per year, because people do have holidays, are ill or don't like some weather. That's 4,500 throws per year. Now, let's add in competitions. Let's say you do 10 comps by 8 games. That's 1,680 throws per year. Plus practice before after each competition, 24 by 10 equals 240. The competition total 920 per year. Total 6,420 throws per year. Everybody will do more or less. Some competitions go over 2 days. Some will practice more, some less. Some games will finish in fewer ends. Some will finish with more ends. Some will do additional training days, and so many more variables. I invite you to submit what you think you do and tell me if you agree on my calculations. I did ask Louie Tattooie. His answer was 60,000. Send your estimations to audiorexy@gmail.com. That's audiorexy@gmail.com. Now for the man that's turning the game on its head. A difficult man to catch, but I'm sure you will all know him in the very near future. He is Louie Tattooie. His enthusiasm, commitment, and all-out desire to become the very best at this sport is very similar to Damien Buick from Camberwell. Both young and driven, you can't help but feeling inspired after listening to either of them. So get yourself ready. Here's Louie. Hey, is that Louie, the man that everyone in the petanque world is talking about?
It's Louie. I don't know who's talking about me, but yeah, it's Louie. Mate, thanks for having me. Unreal.
Terrific, Louie. You have come to note just started petanque and is just about at the top within weeks. Is that right?
Oh, mate, look, I've been playing for about probably 4 months now. I am a very, very competitive person, so when I find something that I enjoy, I just practice it heaps and want to be good at it. I don't enjoy being new and bad at things. So that's happened with petanque, and because I'm a tattoo artist, so a lot of my weekends are taken up by work. So look, every now and then I'll sneak in a cheeky Wednesday, you know, with whoever's there on the Wednesdays. Not quite as busy on the weekends, I hear. No, I definitely try and get there as much as I can, that's for sure.
And now what I hear also is that you might sneak in a little Wednesday here and there, but you've got a couple of the greatest coaches in the world, people that travel overseas to play petanque, and they are happy to coach you. Is that right?
I am extremely fortunate. So a quick little story. So the reason I got into petanque was like randomly, I was in an Uber and then the Uber driver told me, oh, my 65-year-old sister just played for Australia. And I was like, what? That's awesome. Like, you know, okay, I understand now that it was, you know, in that age group. But, you know, at the time I'm thinking like, mate, I'm 36. Well, that's plenty of time to get good at something and play for Australia and do all that sort of stuff. So, you know, I had a look. I was like, what's petanque? You know, blah, blah. I had a look at it. And then I just saw it had just been announced that one of my long-term tattoo clients, regulars and good, you know, client turned friend kind of thing, was on his way to Dijon at the end of this year to play for Australia. I'm like, no way that's the same Chris Boudan. And it was.
How fantastic is that?
Yeah, ridiculous. So, look, I've been lucky enough to be, you know, in and around those guys when they train and, you know, tagging along, trying to be a bit of a sponge and as little of a pest as I can be, but that's a bit hard.
That's brilliant, Louie. And what club are we talking about? Which is the club that you ended up joining? And are they in the same club?
Yeah, so we're all Newcastle.
Is that a big club, Louie?
I believe so. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Newcastle. That's one of the heavyweights in the petanque world, I'd imagine. Having said that, there's a sort of abandoned piece closer to some of our places, which is like Lake Macquarie area. So it's all full of weeds and, you know, not maintained or anything like that. But, well, I train there actually by myself often, admittedly. But, yeah, no, we play there every, you know, try and get there once a week, if not more.
Fantastic. How much practice do you put in?
Way too much, to be honest. Like, it's my sort of meditation. So, you know, once I've done my duties as, you know, at work and then as a parent and that sort of stuff, I'm there just shooting. You know, can't really point in my backyard, but we're talking, I almost don't want to admit it because I should be doing other things, but hours a day, almost every day, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean because when we first started, I became addicted to the game. I really, really did. I felt, you know, if I hadn't played for a week, I was really missing the game myself. So I do understand that.
Yeah.
So at this stage, have you managed your first Carreau?
Oh, yes, actually. No, I've had a few good ones. And, no, I remember them all because there's not that many. But, no, look, I had a carry for 5 the other day against a very experienced player. So that's like by far the best thing I've ever done on a...
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, no, loving it.
Great. And what do you prefer? Do you prefer doubles, triples, singles?
Oh, look, I prefer singles because I don't like letting down the team. And because I've been playing with really good people, I'm the one, the new sort of crappy one. But that's going to change, soon enough. I don't, but yeah.
You said you work on weekends, so that probably makes it difficult for you to actually participate in competitions. Or do you get a good chance to do that?
No, so I've yet to plan an actual comp yet. But starting next year, because I'm booked out for a little bit, my weekends are sort of spoken for the rest of the year. I sort of run my own shows, so I'm definitely able to, in advance, sort out the big ones and definitely have a go next year.
Sure.
For sure.
And are your wife interested in the game at all?
The annoying thing is I've been playing with my wife and my brother-in-law. Okay, so now I'm better. But like at the start, I was never a natural at this. I was, in fact, probably like particularly bad at it. So I had to put in the hours and then finally got better. So I haven't played her in a while, but last time she actually beat me. So yeah, and it got me a bit cranky. I was like, no, you're just rolling it.
Right. So are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Oh, well, there's half your problem. So there you go.
Oh, okay, you're a lefty, are you?
Oh, all the best players are, aren't they?
Oh, okay, I might have to try the other side.
Look at all the videos of the French players, and
Mate,
most of them are left-handed. But anyway.
Mate, you try and copy those guys, and you just got no idea what you like. That Dylan Rocher. You try and copy his thing, or you try and learn from him, and all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's easy. You just change to the left hand. It's as easy as that.
That's right.
Louie, were you in any other ball sports, cricket, golf? Because generally, we've found that people who have played those sorts of games tend to be very good very quickly at petanque.
Okay, well, so as a kid and as like a youth, I took tennis pretty seriously. So I was training probably to the same intensity like growing up.
Yep.
Then I had an injury and that put that to an end. But just recently, I was actually started playing cricket because my 5-year-old son said he wanted to play cricket.
Terrific.
So I was like, never played before, and I grew up watching cricket and I love it. Tried to, I put a lot of effort into learning spin bowling, but then just kept doing my shoulder. I'm like,
right.
I just can't do this anymore. Like it's affecting work. So then around that same time I found petanque. I'm like, now we're talking.
Right, exactly. But that does bring that point out. Even though it was tennis or it's cricket, it's that hand-to-eye coordination is so important in playing the game of petanque.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's worked out really well for you.
Just a quick one, Rex. I just want to say, like, as someone that's coming into petanque trying to, absorb as much stuff that's out there as you can, mate, thanks for doing what you're doing, because there's just nothing out there in English. And there's, like, there could be heaps more, you know what I mean? And and you're flying that flag and just, yeah, I'm like I said, I've listened to this podcast pretty much like multiple times every episode, and yeah, keen as for more, so good on you.
Thanks very much, Louie. I've had a number of people who have spoken to me similarly, and what they've said, I love your podcast, Rex. It helps you go to sleep at night.
Look, I know that they've said that to you because I've heard that, and I just remembered I said that to you as well, which is true, but I also listen to you when I'm trying to train as well, and pretty much at all times. Helps me relax. It's good.
That's great.
You've got that soothing voice. You get the content out there. Good stuff.
You're a good lad. You're a good lad, Lou. Right, Louie, a lot of that's going to be edited out. I can tell you that.
All right, mate.
Genuinely, I really appreciate your thoughts on that.
Not at all.
Yeah, one of the things I'm trying to increase in the podcast is a little more actual coaching or training from other people.
Awesome.
I am trying to introduce more and more of that, of which you'll hear in this podcast when it goes out and goes to air. Louie, I'm really going to keep in contact with you. Thank you. Me and the listener want to keep up with how you are getting along. I want to hear when you're having your first competition, how it goes. I want to hear how you've learned a new technique. We're going to keep in contact. The listener is going to love how you're going to go and grow. I'll let you go now, Louie. Thank you very much for your time. We'll be back talking to you soon. Take care now.
Thank you so much for having me, Rex. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely our pleasure. Thanks, Louie. Cheers. Told you he's enthusiastic. To learn more about Louie, you can find him on Instagram. Look up Louie Tattooie, that's one word. Couple of quick notes for you. The National Singles Championship in New Zealand are on the 1st of November 2024 to be held at Kapiti Petong Club, Paraparaumu, Domain Orangi Road, Paraparaumu. I only do these to keep my tongue exercised. The entry fee is $20 per player. Free entry for players under 21 on the 1st of October 2024. Registration opening date Tuesday the 1st of October. Closing date 7 p.m. on Sunday the 27th of October 2024. Start time is 8 for an 8:30 start. On another issue, looks like Dylan Rocher's YouTube page has been hacked. You know Dylan, he sounds like this. So his proper link is now www.youtube.com/@DylanRocher0110. I recently read the rules of Patong and came across what I thought was an interesting rule with which I thought I could cause some mischief or consternation on the pistes. So I called Guy Messier to point me straight, or put me straight. Guy, of course, is the Victorian State Umpire Manager. Hi Guy, how are you?
Well, I'm very good, actually. I can't just come back from France. I spent 3.5 months, and that was great.
Excellent. You might be very good now, but I'm going to ask you a question on umpiring, and that might change your mood and attitude a little bit. Here's one that's got me really, really intrigued, Guy, and I hope you can help me out with this. According to Article 19 under dead bulls, any dead bull must immediately be removed from the game.
That's correct.
By default, it will be considered live the moment another bull is played by the opposing team. So this suggests if a bull goes over the boundary line, which means it's dead, and if not removed from the game and the other team plays a bull, that out-of-bounds bull is now alive again, even though it's sitting out of bounds. Now, have I interpreted that correctly?
No, you have not.
That's how it's
because
written.
as soon as the ball has gone over the line or whatever the limit is,
Yep.
it is dead.
Yep.
Now, if a ball, like let's say someone's shooting and it bounces on the backbone and comes back into the field of play,
Yep.
or the ball just rolls over the line, fully out and comes back in,
Yep.
then it's dead, but it's on the playing surface.
Right.
So you should remove it straight away before the next ball is played, because if you call an umpire, the umpire is going to come and look at what's on the ground. He's only going to see a ball which is there, and to him he hasn't seen what's happened, so he's going to say it's a valid ball, you know. So that's why both teams, obviously, you've got to talk to the other team before removing the ball.
Yep.
Because sometimes you're going to have issues with the ball going over the line
Yep.
and coming back in, and some are going to say,
Yeah.
it's good or it's not good. Or most teams will agree that it went fully out. Or when it bounced back, if nobody was actually watching, and I've seen that in a competition once, when nobody actually took care of it and the ball was considered valid, you know?
Right.
Because nobody removed it straight away after the bounce.
I see. So it's sort of like an evidence-based situation for the umpire. So in my case, where I'm saying the ball went out of bounds and is still out of bounds, but it's not removed and the other player plays.
It's still out of bounds, so it doesn't matter.
So if you as an umpire, we said, can you make a ruling? You come along, and because you didn't see what happened, all you see is a ball out of bounds, which therefore it's dead.
That's right. It would go straight away at the back. So you wouldn't even call me or I'll give you a card. Because it's obvious. Now, hang on. If you're playing in a tie game, that is the case, you know?
Yep.
Because as soon as it's out of the line
Yep.
or the boundaries, we're going to say, it's dead.
Yep.
But if you're playing no time, with no time, then it's valid even if it goes out of the line.
Is that right?
Oh, yes. When you've got no time, the line your ball can finish in the piece next to you, and it's still valid when you play no time. Well, mind you, these days we play rarely competition here with no time, so not a rule you're going to apply a lot.
Right.
But in Europe, they always, or 99% of the time, they play no time. So this rule applies. That's why if your ball finishes on the other piece next to you, or either side, doesn't matter.
Yep.
You usually mark it. Like you mark it like you mark a ball and make a circle around and then move it so you don't impede on the other game next to you and they can keep on playing.
I'm with you.
But when it comes to counting the points at the end, if that ball is closer than anything, it might count for 1 point. So at this stage, it's got to be put back in play.
I'm with you. Okay.
To be measured up. All right.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, you've cleared up what I was reading. It's very short. It's only a couple of lines there. Yeah. So, yes, we need to be very aware that any bull that has become dead at any stage and is back in the state of play is removed. Otherwise, it will be live again if the other team plays.
I mean, I've never come across a team which you play your ball and someone come and remove the previous one which was dead. I've never seen anybody contesting it. But it can happen.
Yes.
It can happen. You don't know who you're playing against. You've got to be careful. So it's better if you do it before the next ball is played.
Of course.
Even if it's you playing, your team playing,
yep,
you're better off taking the ball which just went out of the court,
yep,
or the pitch.
Yep.
And then you cover it. You don't have any issues.
Fantastic. Well, Guy, thank you very much for clearing that up. I was going to use that in all sorts of evil ways, but now you've straightened me out. I won't do that. But it's something of which we should all be aware because it's a possibility that could happen. So, okay.
It does happen, yes, especially like us at Camberwell, we've got a backboard in the middle or even bouncing off the concrete ends, it can come back in play when we've only got 30 centimeters.
Indeed, yeah.
Back to the line, so it can bounce back off and come back in play. So you've got to be careful.
All right, Guy, thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry to have disturbed your very busy schedule, but I do appreciate that. And I'm sure
thanks so much.
I'm sure our listener will appreciate that as well. So there you go, listeners, be careful. Don't let the bull go out and come back in and not be removed. All righty, Guy, thanks so much. I'll see you down the track. See you on the piece, Guy. You going to hang up on me?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Okay, Guy, thanks for that.
Bye.
Take care. Cheers. Here is my champagne fact of the week. Oh, and by the way, this episode of Baton Points is being published today, which is International Champagne Day, the fourth Friday in the month of October. Put it in your diaries. Here's the fact. Drinking champagne every week can prevent memory loss. A study carried out by the University of Reading found that champagne can help to protect the brain from damage caused by Alzheimer's disease. Other benefits of champagne include reducing the risk of stroke and improving heart health. This is because champagne contains polyphenol antioxidants that help to protect the body against heart disease. Here's my champagne fact of the week. Oops, I forgot I've done that already. Looks like I must be ready for my weekly champagne top-up. The city of Dijon and the French Pétanque Federation will host the 2024 Men's Triplets and Precision Shooting World Championships. Dijon will be the showcase of pétanque from the 5th to the 8th of December 2024 by hosting 48 international delegations of triplets and men's precision shooting. The competition will take place at the Zenith, which will present a new and ambitious setup for the occasion. One of Australia's representatives to the championship is Chris Boudan. We were very fortunate at Baton Points podcast to catch Chris between practices for a discussion about him and the game of pétanque.
Hello.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for taking the call. First of all, Chris, thank you very much for being prepared to have a chat like this. I do appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. I'm quite loving your podcast. They're really good.
Oh, so you listen to them?
I do, yes.
You need to go to sleep at night. That's what it is.
No, I love pétanque and anything pétanque related, be it YouTube or podcast I'm into, so yeah.
Yeah, well, Chris, that's very much the policy of Baton Points podcast.
Yeah, I very much agree with you, Rex. I'm all about positive petanque, if that's two words put together. Yeah, I think you've spoken to my friend Louie in recent times, and his enthusiasm is very infectious.
Isn't it, though? Unbelievable. Louie was one of the most exciting and interesting interviews I think we've done on the podcast. He's just, as you say, full of enthusiasm, and the infection is just incredible. It's just great.
Yeah, well, I'm 48 and I've been playing since I was 16, and I've never met anyone like him. So, yeah.
I think he's going to be good value to the club. Chris Boudan, you are an exceptional petanquista, I am told.
I'm very humbled by that comment, Rex. I do my best.
Yes, look, Chris, I understand that, but you don't get to represent Australia without being a little bit exceptional. How does one come to be able to represent Australia in the world of petanque?
Well, Rex, I've been playing since I was 17 with my dad, Pierre, who revolutionized the sport promoted the sport within Australia way back when. And I won the national titles with him and my brother in 1999.
Wow.
Back then, it was an automatic selection to go to the World Cup and represent Australia. Things have changed since then, and 20 years separated, or 24 years separated. This year, the PFA have got a squad of guys together that went to Melbourne and did a training camp at St Kilda Petanque Club.
Right, yep.
And out of that 12 or 13 players, 4 were selected to go to the World Cup in Dijon, France in December.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
And you've answered one of the questions, which was what brought you to petanque initially?
Well, from Mauritian background, there's obviously a lot of Mauritians and French people in association with Australians that play petanque. And so my dad and family brought me into the game, and yeah, it's grown from there. And my fondest times with my late father is playing this game, and now bringing my kids involved. And yeah, I love it.
Spectacular. Really fantastic. I have fond memories of mine, but I'm going to ask you this question. Do you remember the sound and the feel of your first carreau?
I can very much understand that. I look at it like golf. I'm not very good at golf. I'm horrible, actually. But when you do that nice tee off shot, 1 in 50, and you smack it down the middle, a carreau is like that for me, and brings me back to the game, and it gets me excited when you hear that sound on another piste or someone else doing it. So, yeah, carreau's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty special, isn't it?
Correct, yes.
This representation that you're doing for Australia over in Dijon, would you consider that your greatest achievement in petanque?
Absolutely. I earlier this year represented New South Wales in the Interstate Challenge, and our team from New South Wales won against the other states. Yeah, this is the pinnacle, Rex. Apart from winning the title back in 99 with my dad, very humbled and excited about the journey with the 3 other guys that are also representing, who are good mates of mine. And yeah, I'm very excited.
That's brilliant. The club you belong to is?
So yeah, I'm part of Newcastle Petanque Club in New South Wales.
Right. And another Australian representative is in the same club, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So Kieran Clark, who's represented Australia on many occasions, considered to be one of the best players within Australia, he's also from our club. And yeah, our little 90-member club has done really well. We've got really good members and very supportive members. And so, yeah, it's been really good.
So there must be something special about your club that can do this with its members. This is just brilliant.
Yeah, we've got around 90 members, the youngest being my son, who's 5, and the eldest, Mel, who's a lovely lady in her early or late 80s. But we've got a variety of people, and we've got many representative players come out of Newcastle Petanque, both statewide and nationally, and yeah, we've got a good group of people.
That sounds brilliant. You mentioned your son then. Do you have a good, strong youth membership in the club? That's one of the things that seems to be a bit of a hurdle for most clubs, is to get younger people to come and join the club.
We have a few. Logan Romani, who's represented Australia in the youth last year overseas, and we've got a couple of the young ones. But yeah, you're right, Rex. We need to get more involved in schools and in police boys club, and that's what sort of Louie sort of had a thought around going to these schools and doing some level of come and try days.
Yep.
But you're right, we need to get more youth into the game.
Yes, look, it's a very hard slog, I know, from the experience with our own club. We've had a couple of school groups that have come along. They've been either French classes or they've been sporting classes. And all these kids think, oh, we don't want to be involved. These are all old people. We don't want to do that. But once we've had them playing, they've really become enthusiastic to the point where they said, yeah, we'd love to do this. And I said, well, look, we could set up a few squads and you could come and compete and everything like that. And then nothing. It's so hard.
My dad did it in the 90s, and that's how we built up the club back then. And we went to schools, and we finally got half a dozen to 10 kids to come and play on a regular basis. But yeah, I think that's a good idea about getting that more involved. And our club at Newcastle is pretty good with anyone new coming along. There's a range of people that in the club help these new players come in. So it's something that we need to concentrate on to grow Petanque through the years.
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously from what you've said already, you're happy to offer coaching to people and help them get them along the way. It doesn't matter what club you go to, every member is a coach.
Oh, yeah, we've got Neil Brown, he's he's been a national coach in the past, and he does some training and some come and try days. My friend Eric Carbonell from Western Australia, he's also heavily into promoting the sport and bringing new people through. So there is these people who are sputtered around Australia, but we need to get more of them involved.
Sure, absolutely. And just on new people and new players and things, what single piece of advice would you give to a new player?
My advice would be to have fun. A lot of new players get concentration of worried of how other people are going to sort of gauge them when they're starting out.
Yep.
For me, Petanque is a very social, fun environment game. Yes, there is serious and more competitive side to it.
Absolutely.
But the reason I love the game is the enjoyment and camaraderie that you get from within the club and within the other states. So just have fun, relax, and just play, and then you'll get better. And the more you do it, and a couple of tips from a couple of the more senior players along the way,
yep,
and we'll get you to become a half decent player. But yeah, have a love for it.
That's really interesting because it's very similar to what we've said at the club that I belong to. Whenever anyone comes, I always say to them the first rule of Petanque is to have fun. And the second rule of Petanque is to have fun. And from there it seems to work. And that's what it should be. It's a game after all. Yeah. And as you say, yes, there are competitions for people who want to take it to the next step or the next step. But yeah, get to the next step by enjoying the game in the first instance. I totally agree with you with that.
Absolutely. I love going to Melbourne, Rex. You've got a great Petanque culture within Victoria and Melbourne itself. Every time I go there and play, I love it. Everyone's so welcoming and stuff. So there's none of that, hierarchy of people down there is what I've experienced. And so, yeah, congratulations on Melbourne too.
Oh.
On the way they organise everything.
I'm very, very pleased to hear that feedback. That's good. But, I know we, particularly at Camberwell Petanque, that's very much our attitude. Please come along and enjoy yourself. And that's the first thing. Let's worry about everything else after that.
Absolutely.
And now, another one. Here's one you might want to think about a little bit. Is there any rule that you would like to change or introduce or throw out in the game of Petanque?
That's a hard question. Like, time restraints are for competitions with the timed games. Sometimes gets frustrating to me, Rex, especially when you get into quarters and semi-finals and finals.
Yep.
I understand that we need to wrap up the competition and stuff.
Yep.
I think it it suffocates the game a little bit because you sort of change the structure, and I'm talking at more of an elite level games. But no, I think that's going really well. I think when we start ruling the game, I think it loses appetite for people wanting to play.
Yeah.
I'm very much a wine in the glass in the hand type social sort of player as well as I am competitive. And
excellent.
Yeah, not overcomplicating it is my biggest take out of that.
Yeah, with the rules, in fact, quite simple. I think there's only 45 rules in total. It's not overburdensome with rules.
No.
There are some people that like to interpret things one way and it can be done the other way.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that.
Let me know who your favourite umpire is and why. Go on.
Peter from South Australia is probably my favourite. He's very much of a character, Pete Beaumont. He's been around the sport for years and he likes having a laugh as well as implementing the rules. But, yeah, I think we've got some really good refereeing. And what I like with Canberra or Capital Petanque is their referee levels are higher.
Right.
Graham Schmitty down there is very much into everyone getting their license to become an umpire, and then that also gives everyone a chance to know the rules.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I think the more referees we can get to learn the rules, then there's going to be less arguments.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more about that. The promotion of new referees, umpires, is very high on the agenda, or it should be.
Yeah.
Down here in Victoria, we need more umpires than what we have already.
Yeah.
I don't like to admit this, but I did the umpire exam, not wishing to become an umpire, but somehow I was. And I umpired some state championship or something, and they gave me a refund on the money because I was so bad.
No.
No, not really. But I haven't been asked back, put it that way.
Yeah, it's I think again, you're sort of was summating sort of something before about the politics of petanque, and I think past has been some complications with the politics with in between the PFA, the Umpires Commission, and the players, and I think we just need to relax on that and be more cohesive and just more of an understanding. And
sure.
I think if new peoples are seeing arguments about rules and regulations, then that puts them off as well.
Yep.
So it needs to be a good combination.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I said before, I think, as I say to newcomers that come in to learn how to play the game, look, it's a pretty simple game.
Yeah.
The game itself is simple, but the strategies can become very involved, and so can some of the techniques. But the game itself is quite simple, and keeping the rules simple and as few rules as possible goes towards helping that situation.
Yeah, it just gives you more clarity on what you can do and what you can't do, and then I think once people will understand once they understand the rules.
All right, Chris, we're just about there. There is one other question I'd like to ask you, because this is something else I'm throwing in this week's episode, or this month's episode, whatever I'm doing at the moment. What do you think is the total number of bull throws that you do in a year?
Oh, mate! At the moment, it's a high frequency because I'm training every day.
Sure.
So I'm a pointer mainly. So I'm practicing a lot with my pointing and some shooting. There's a couple of competitions coming up. There's that big weird tournament in 1st of November, which is pretty massive on the calendar, but I will not be able to tell you, Rex. I've got no idea. Probably throw more in my sleep than I do when I actually do it.
Oh, how wonderful. That's excellent. Very, very good, Chris. Chris, I think we're just about there, unless there's something else you'd like to add.
Yeah, just two things, Rex. Yeah, I'd like to obviously promote our club at Nesca Park and Newcastle Petanque. Anyone's welcome, whoever's dropping through Newcastle, more than welcome. We play on Wednesdays and Saturdays predominantly. And secondly, I'd like just to promote the Petanque Spot Australia website, who they're providing balls and accessories. Eric is just starting out as a distributor in Australia, and they're doing wonderful things and really affordable accessories and affordable competition balls. So, yeah, check them out.
Terrific. Good to hear. Happy to support anybody that supports the game of petanque in, as I say, in a positive way, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris, all the very best for the upcoming big game, or the big games.
Thank you.
I hope it all goes well, and it will. We hope to see you back here with, I don't know whether they do trophies or anything like that. Doesn't matter. In
the World Cup, you get a jersey or a play shirt with multicolours through the middle, and if we come back with that, that means we've won. So
fantastic.
I'm looking forward to the experience more than anything, but yeah, congratulations on what you do in the game, mate, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Thanks very much, Chris. I look forward to seeing you in that top with those colours on. You take care.
Thank you.
Chris, I'll let you go now. Thank you very much for giving us your time. Myself and the listener are just delighted about it.
Excellent. Thanks, Rex. All the best.
Catch up with you soon. Thanks very much, Chris. Take care. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, that's about a wrap. But before you go, a tree lopper goes into a magic forest, sees a nice tree. He raises his axe, and as he is about to strike, the tree says, "Please don't chop me. I'm a talking tree." The axeman says, "Then you will dialogue?" So don't forget to send your number of throws to audiorexy@gmail.com. Check out Louie Tattooie on Instagram. Remember to remove the dead bull and cheer Chris and the team on at the World Champs. And be sure to enjoy a glass of champagne this and every week. Rex out.
You're a good man, Rex. Sick of Rex. Sick of Rex.